In the 50s, 60s, and before, our coconut properties belonging to the private landowners and companies paid particular attention to fertilizing the coconut trees, and the production was sufficient for the local population and exports as copra for our foreign currency earnings. The trees were big and healthy looking. Coconut plantations flourished in the Sri Lankan coastal areas from Chilau to Mathura in the post-Anuradhapura period. In the 15th century, King Parakrambahu VI gifted a coconut plantation to the Totagamur Vijayabha Piriveda. Spanish and Portuguese explorers coined the name coconut in the 16th century. We were proud then of our coconut growth, including rubber and tea plantations, the main products that gave us sufficient foreign exchange. Then, in 1972, the Land Reform Act was introduced with political motives when unnecessary. Having identified a common yearning for land and livelihoods, Mrs. Bandaranaike appointed the Land Reform Commission. Tasked with land redistribution, the introduced regulations limited landowners to possessing 50 acres. Possibly most of the landowners were UNP supporters. The lack of far-sighted policies brought in more issues and production dropped due to this distribution. The primary concern for the coconut industry following this Land Reform Act is the scarcity of coconuts in the country. The trees became stunted with less production. The Coconut Research Institute, or the CRI, and the Coconut Cultivation Board had initially provided inaccurate information on coconut crops, leading to unrealistic expectations from foreign buyers. As a result, Sri Lanka's coconut industry is grappling with the repercussions of inadequate supply impacting exports and domestic consumption.
Line is dotted with coconut trees, yet the country is being forced to import coconut chunks this holiday season. How is an island full of coconut trees running out of coconuts? Let's find out.
This was the first batch for our coconut production, and there was a time when we would import coconuts for local consumption from Burma due to this Reform Act. Presently, and in the recent past, the bashing is mainly due to the promotion of other oils condemning coconut oil due to alleged saturated fat harmful to our bodies. Coconut oil is one of the worst foods you can eat and is pure poison, a Harvard professor has said. In a speech at the prestigious American university, Dr. Karen Michaels warned against consuming it. The address was called Coconut Oil and Other Nutritional Errors. Coconut is a poison, so it will kill all people who eat coconut products and use oil for cooking. According to this lady's pronouncement, half the world's population will be wiped out soon. Epidemiologically, this pronouncement can be contested for its unsupported ideas. The idea that saturated fats cause heart disease, called the diet-heart hypothesis, was introduced in 1950s by Keyes based on weak associational evidence. Subsequent clinical trials attempting to substantiate this hypothesis could never establish a causal link. For example, research reviews have shown that full fat dairy intake has a neutral or protective effect on heart disease risk, while coconut oil intake has been shown to boost HDL, or the good cholesterol, and may benefit weight loss.
LDL, or bad cholesterol, audience? What do you think? True or false?
The main cause.
Is it the main cause of bad cholesterol? Oils in fat in
Okay, so this is actually kind of a trick question. It's probably false, and there is controversial data about this because, first of all, our LDL or bad cholesterol is partially dictated by our genetics. It's partially made internally. People can have no fat in their diet and still have high cholesterol. So does it play a role? Yes. But is it the entire picture? Absolutely.
Same story that you're saying about coconut oil in general. All right, let's do one more.
Okay.
People live longer. Ready? Is this true or false? People live longer in cultures that consume a lot of coconut oil, making it a superfood. True or false, audience? Split.
The US government's official position on coconut oil today is that it is dangerous for your health and that you should either avoid it altogether or only consume very modest amounts. This official position has been given for over 4 decades because it is primarily a saturated fat which they want you to believe leads to high cholesterol levels and heart disease. Low doses of coconut oil added to the diet of mice for 8 weeks led to alterations in their metabolism that contributed to the development of obesity and related comorbidities, according to a new study. The coconut oil distributed the mice's ability to properly use leptin and insulin, 2 hormones essential for regulating energy expenditure, hunger, and how the body handles fats and sugars. This finding supports the hypothesis that a diet high in saturated fatty acids can lead to leptin resistance. At the same time as leptin resistance is developing, the body's fat storage tissue, known as white adipose tissue, also becomes less responsive to leptin. The study was published in the Journal of Functional Foods. The study proposes that coconut oil could make it harder for the body to properly respond to important hormones that manage hunger and energy use, at least in mice, said nutritional scientist Dr. Taylor Wallace. This could contribute to problems like obesity and resistance to insulin, which is a key issue in diabetes. Leptin is a hormone derived from adipose tissue and the small intestine, mainly in enterocytes. It helps regulate the energy balance by suppressing hunger, resulting in decreased fat mass adipocytes. If this theory is applied to humans, all Asians, Orientals, and Islanders should have an obesity problem. Still, obesity is a problem in the Western developed countries, eating a Western diet excluding coconuts in the recipes. An ecological study for Sri Lanka about the health effects of coconut by Athauda, A.R. Wickramasinghe, B. Kumarendran, and A. Kasiratna. And these are their findings. An ecological correlation study was conducted to determine the association between the consumption of coconut products and deaths due to cardiovascular disease in Sri Lanka. Data on coconut consumption patterns from 1961 to 2006 were abstracted from the FAO database, mortality data from the Department of Census and Statistics reports, and the UN databases. The results do not provide evidence at the population level that consuming coconut products increases mortality due to cardiovascular disease. Coming in hot at the spot, Sri Lanka eats the most coconuts out of every country in the world. At nearly 61 kilograms per capita, Sri Lanka truly is the coconut capital of the world. Heart disease is increasingly prevalent worldwide, and Sri Lanka is no exception. According to data released by the World Health Organization in 2018, over 22.6% of deaths in Sri Lanka are caused by cardiovascular disease. Common risk factors leading to cardiovascular disease include obesity, diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, smoking, tobacco, a sedentary life, unhealthy eating habits, and clinical depression. Sri Lanka faces a vulnerable situation against the said risk factors as there is a high level of tobacco consumption in the country with over 50 to 60 people dying every day due to smoking, and 1 in 5 adults in Sri Lanka is diabetic or pre-diabetic. No research paper shows that these risk factors correlate to coconut consumption in their daily diet. Heart disease is a common problem globally, including the number one killer in the US. It is essential to acknowledge that specific steps such as lifestyle changes can be taken to prevent developing cardiovascular disease and reduce the severity of the complications. It has no relation to the consumption of saturated fats in coconuts. For their survival, most research workers produce research papers on subjects like coconut or eggs and reveal experimental work on rats without connection with humans. The truth is that those who consume coconuts in their curries and pulsambol, a favorite mixture that goes with Asian foods such as string hoppers, flatbreads, rice, and curry, must continue with no guilt. I hope this video article was helpful. Stay safe, eat coconut products, and be healthy. Goodbye for now.